So you guys may be wondering, what's the best way to actually W key and fight in Chapter 5 Season 2? In today's video, I want to go over the basic areas of how you guys can learn how to fight in this new season using new weapons, understanding the new meta, and just overall fundamentals of fighting in competitive Fortnite. If you guys want to see more videos like this going in depth into specific pro players, how they fight, and how they succeed, please let me know down in the comments. Let's get right into this video. So the first aspect I'm going to be going over is positioning in peaks. Now, as you guys know, when you're in a fight, positioning is one of the most important aspects of how you guys are going to be winning. There's going to be many different ways of positioning. There's going to be high ground, low ground, kind of 50-50 where you guys are on the same layer, you have pretty much the same advantage, you guys aren't really making too many elevation changes. Let's start off with high ground. In my opinion, high ground is the place where you're going to be the most beneficial, and there's going to be the highest likelihood of you actually winning the fight because you have more lines of sight onto the opponent, and also the opponent has to look upwards, which is harder to hit somebody if you're looking up than if you're looking down. What you guys can do on high ground is get very good chip damage. This means that you guys can jump around, shoot, and then place a build that can actually shield you from getting shot by the enemy player. You guys can get many different angles. You can slide, you can use your mantling to get many different peaks onto the opponent. What you guys can do is you can get a bunch of chip damage onto this opponent. You can keep lowering them down. Once their health is low enough, you can drop down and you can get into that sort of 50-50 situation, and you can actually win it because you're higher on health, resources, and overall confidence in the fight. Low ground, on the other hand, is much harder to play. My recommendation for low ground, the best way to play it would be to chop your opponent and then get chip damage as they're falling. Now, this isn't really seen too much in competitive games unless people are actually knowing that this is what you need to do. The primary place you're seeing this, guys, is by watching Zone War players. My recommendation is watch people like Laylim, watch people like Zen, watch people like Reet when they play Zone Wars. When all these people are playing Zone Wars, they know that chopping the opponent and then beaming them out of the sky, getting a bunch of damage on them is the best way to get the upper hand if you're fighting from the low ground. And yes, once again, it is much harder to do this. However, if you get good at it, you're definitely going to succeed. And then you have the 50-50 kind of mindset. This is primarily going to be in the end game. Let's say you guys are in a tarp, you're on one layer, everywhere around you is blocked off, and you're on the same layer as a person, and you guys are both on the similar health, and you have to fight each other. This is kind of where box fights comes into play. You guys should watch the good box fighters like Clicks, watch people play box fights, and practice them yourself. This will definitely increase your guys' chances of winning competitive fights when you guys are on this 50-50 level. And overall, your peaks, your aim, all of your different crosshair placements, your sort of assumption and awareness, that stuff will all get better as long as you practice box fights on these 50-50 levels. Now, peaks are the next aspect of how you guys are actually able to try and win these fights. As you guys know, the most popular peak in competitive Fortnite is going to be the peanut butter edit. The reason this edit is so popular, guys, is because it's a right-hand peak. This allows you to not get hit while you have a really good line of sight onto the enemy player. I'd recommend you use this peak. Just make sure that as long as you're using it, you're going to be moving to the left side of your wall so that you're not able to be hit, and that the opponent cannot hit you, but you can hit them. This also coincides with the idea of consistent movement in these boxes. If you guys are consistently moving, it's going to improve your chances of winning these fights by a mile, because generally it's going to be harder for your opponent to hit you, and that will obviously increase your chances of winning. And the last aspect of positioning in peaks, guys, that's going to be constant pressure. Obviously, pressure has to do with positioning. However much pressure is being applied onto you does alter the positioning of a fight. So if you guys deal damage to an opponent, you need to stop them from healing. So try to deal constant pressure damage onto their structures, themselves. What I would recommend you guys do is either start spraying one of their walls and trying to get chip damage and bleed damage through these walls, or you can damage all of the walls of their structure so that they have less security all around and they have more places to worry about, which is obviously going to lead you guys to an offensive advantage in the fight. My recommendation is to keep spraying them to apply constant pressure, and then once again, guys, try to damage a bunch of their walls. It's definitely going to work. And then lastly, if you guys are being pressured yourselves and you're on the defensive, my recommendation is to deal counter damage. While somebody's shooting your wall, get your shotgun out, and as the wall breaks, try to pre-fire them and get a big damage tag onto them in order to try and win the fight. This is huge. You see a bunch of pro players doing this to get out of sticky situations, and it really does work as long as you guys master it. Now, another aspect is going to be enemy skill. What you're going to have to do is that in the first 10 seconds of a fight, you should definitely learn how good of a player the enemy actually is. Now, this should alter how you guys approach the fight. If they're an aggressive player, you should play them defensively and try to get pre-fire and chip damage from inside of a box as they're trying to take your walls. If they're a defensive player, you guys can play offensive, get good peaks after taking their wall, use peanut butter edits, get right-hand peaks. And remember, don't double swing on walls. If you guys don't know what double swinging is, it's when you mindlessly double swing at a wall and the opponent can actually edit open and shoot you. My recommendation is swing once, get your shotgun out, swing again. That's the best way to take walls intelligently. And like I said, in the first 10 seconds of a fight, you should learn how good of a player the enemy actually is. The best way to do that is as you guys are engaging them, as you guys are starting to fight them, look at the speed of their edits, the consistency of their mechanics. Do they stop? Do they mess up? Do they mess up a side jump? Are they out of position? If they're really good at all these things, they're definitely going to be more of an aggressive player. If they're not as good at all of these things, they're definitely going to be a defensive player, and you guys need to take the offensive advantage in that situation. Overall, the enemy skill is an important attribute of how you guys are supposed to be approaching fights. Definitely consider it as you guys are playing. And another crucial aspect of fighting, guys, is going to be learning how to disengage. Many people are really good at the aspect of fighting, pushing people, W keying, but once they get really low on health or they get into a situation that's really tough to get out of, they really don't know how to disengage and get out of these fights and these sticky situations that they get into. If a fight is dragging out too long or the other player is beating you on health and resources, that is a time you need to realize, hey, I need to fall back and heal, or I need to completely leave this fight. The aspect of disengaging is crucial. If you guys learn how to disengage correctly, not only will you guys be more likely to win fights throughout the game, you'll also be likely to survive longer in the game. If somebody is pressuring you really hard off spawn or even in the mid game, if you disengage, you obviously have time in the rest of the game to circle back, maybe fight that player again in a different circumstance. A lot of the players right now that are really good fighting, one of them being Marius. Marius is really good at the aspect of fighting really well. However, he does struggle with disengaging. However, on NA, you see players like Peterbot. Peterbot is an incredible fighter, and he's really good at disengaging as well. If there's a fight that he's really low on health, or he doesn't really know how to win it fully, he learns, hey, listen, I need to fall back, I need to regroup, and then I need to come back and take this fight later. Disengaging is just as important as actual W keying. It's a skill that needs to be learned and mastered 100%. And then of course, guys, if you are focused on more of a mechanical aspect, in my opinion, the most important mechanic for actually being good at W keying is going to be your aim. The best way to improve your aim, it's one of two things. It's either playing the game more and actually just playing more competitive, getting good at actually aiming in the competitive game, or obviously aim training. You guys can use in-game aim trainers like the Clicks aim trainer. You can use Kovacs outside of the game. Not only will this improve your reaction time, it'll also improve your click timing, tracking, flicking, and overall this will branch together to make you guys a really well-rounded player and have very good aim. And the last little way to improve your aim, it's going to be having really good awareness. If you guys see pro players play, pro players have some of the best awareness in the entire world, and that's the reason that their aim is so good. They constantly know where the enemy player is, and that enables them to actually track them through walls, understand where they're going to be popping out, try to pre-fire them if they're jumping in a very specific peak. All of these different things are crucial to improving your aim, and awareness is definitely one of them. But guys, those are the aspects of W keying in Chapter 5 Season 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it myself. Let me know if there's any video ideas you guys have in the comments down below. But that is about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.